I started a playlist a long time ago called Ripped Book Reviews, but I only did one book review. It was about Sly Moves by Sylvester Stallone. Well, after a long time I decided to do another Ripped Book Review, and this time, of all things, I'm going to cover a finance book. Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker. Now, I know you're wondering, why would I cover a finance book if this is a fitness and nutrition channel? Well, the reason is, there are two parts in this book, okay? Part 2 is called The Wealth Files, and it's a bunch of chapters that specifically talk about the way that rich people act and think and believe and behave, and how you could use those same concepts to increase your wealth. And they're very specific towards wealth. I may make a couple of videos discussing how you can apply some of them to fitness, but in general, it's really about making money. However, what's very important for people who are interested in fitness, nutrition, or health is the first part of this book. The first half is called The Money Blueprint. And what it basically means is, if you have a lot of money, it's because before you got the money, you had beliefs, habits that caused you to take actions that caused you to accumulate money. If you don't have money, you have beliefs and habits that cause you to take actions to have like zero net worth. This is really important for anybody who is having problems getting in shape or staying in shape. For instance, when I was younger, George Foreman was still fighting, okay? And I remember, you know, there was like an HBO commercial that shows him jogging, and he was known as the fat heavyweight. Shows him jogging and, you know, grabbing like a hamburger while he's jogging, then grabbing a donut while he's jogging. He's like, I'm gonna eat this guy up, and rawr, you know, and he was, it was a joke that he just ate junk food and he was fat. He was a world-class boxer, but he was a big fat ass, okay? And I remember seeing a interview with him when somebody said that. They're like, yeah, you're the, you know, you're known as the boxer with the appetite. You're known as the boxer, you know, who's always got the Big Mac in his hand. So what's up with this? And what he said to him, to the guy interviewing him was, you know, when he was a kid, he was in a poor family, and there were a lot of mouths to feed. He had a lot of brothers and sisters. And you know, his parents didn't really have a lot of money to go out and eat in restaurants all the time. So what they did when they got a little money together as a treat was they went ahead and, you know, grabbed something from like Burger King or McDonald's or whatever, and like ripped off a little piece of a hamburger and get, you know, so you could get like a bite of a hamburger. You're sharing it among several kids. Everybody could just get a bite and be like, oh my God, this tastes so good, okay? And when he was a kid, what he learned was, first of all, that was a reward. Okay, this is not him saying this, but this is me analyzing him after reading the first part of this book. You know, as a reward, you get fast food, okay? When you get money, you get fast food, okay? So now, fast forward years and years and years later, you know, when he's established, you know, he's, I don't know how he did it, but somehow with these eating habits, he made it up to becoming a, you know, world-class boxer. And he's got money, and what does he do with the money? He goes out and he eats. Why is it that you can never get in shape, or you get in shape but you can never stay in shape? You know, you lose weight and you gain it back again. And it's probably going to come down to something like the Wealth Files, okay? I already discussed this in a couple of videos that when I was younger, you know, in high school, there was a guy, he was like in his 30s, which is like 10 years younger than me now, that went to the same martial arts school as me. Everybody thought he was a lot older, okay, because he was just in terrible condition. And I was talking to him one day, and I'm like, you know, so, you know, I see you eat like crap, what's up with this whole thing here? And he's like, you don't understand, you know, when I was a kid, that was like the way that I spent time with my dad, is what he told me, okay? He said basically, you know, Sunday morning, his father would come in, wake him up, and it would just be him and Dad. And he'd be so proud to spend time with his dad. He was a banker, his dad, so, you know, he probably didn't have a lot of money, a lot of time other than on the weekends to spend time with him. So here's private time, just him and Dad. And what would they do? They'd cook, okay? And did they cook healthy food? No, they didn't. You know, they'd make the bacon and eggs maybe, but they'd be making pancakes and syrup and grab some cake and, you know, all the stuff that I tell people not to eat. Okay? And him being an impressionable young child, what he basically learned was that's how you spend time with people. You sit together, you cook unhealthy food, and you eat unhealthy food, and you tell stories, okay? That's how you celebrate. Like, you work hard all week, and then on the weekends, you get up and you eat a whole bunch of food, okay? So now, years and years later, he is extremely unhealthy. And don't just mean aesthetically not pleasing or not a high level of athletic performance, but he's, you know, in really bad shape. Like I said, he was in his 30s, we thought he was like late 40s. A lot of people, if they think about it, their joy comes from food. So if you take away their food, like I remember one guy when I was talking to him, you know, years ago, I'm like, oh yeah, you know, it's kind of like unhealthy. And he's like, I'd rather eat and enjoy life and die than eat grass and pigeon food and live to be 100. You know, I mean, people literally like, the only happiness in the world comes from when I eat crap, and I'm not giving up the crap that I eat for anything. That's the way people believe. And a lot of it, like I said, it just comes to like, why do you have it stuck in your head that the only enjoyment in the world comes from eating donuts all day? Okay? A lot of people have a hard time working out. Maybe there was like a traumatic experience, or maybe people were telling you when you were a kid, oh God, don't work too hard, don't work too hard. And because of that, every time you think about working out, you think about being unhappy, basically. Happiness means sitting on your ass watching TV. Having to actually go out and run or go out or do something like exercise means unhappiness, means pain. Like, I remember I was talking to this one guy when I was in the Army. He was really skinny. And, you know, and he was like trying to trust himself to go to the gym with me. And, you know, back when I lifted weights, and he's like, yeah, I'm gonna have to go into where the machines are and start with the light weights. I'm like, well, we could start with light free weights. No, I need to use the machines. You know, later on, and all this is coming out after I read the first half of this book, but later on, I talked to him, didn't realize it at the time, but he was getting picked on a lot when he was a kid because he was skinny and weak. So what happens? Well, every time that, you know, you go into the gym, or every time you're around, you know, do physical education classes or play sports or whatever, or play with the kids, you get laughed at because you're weak and skinny. So you avoid those situations. By avoiding situations where you are physically active, you become weak-er and skinny-er. So it's a downward spiral, okay? You know, like I said, like, why is it that some people are afraid to go to the gym? Why is it that some people are afraid to run on the road? You know, I mean, I remember one time this guy was in the 101st Airborne, you know, air assault, everything, wanted to go to Ranger School, and he wouldn't run with me on the road. He'd only run with me on a treadmill. And I'm like, why? And he's like, I'm not going to walk and have people see me walking. He apparently at some point in his life was ridiculed. And because of that, he's like, well, if we're running somewhere and he can't keep up with me, and he tries to keep up with me, first of all, he's going to have to fall behind. And second, he might get to the point, if he tries to keep up with me, that he won't even be able to run. He might have to start walking because he gets a cramp. And then people will drive past him on the road and see him, and he'll be ridiculed again. So he would only run on, you know, on a treadmill, where he could be like, oh yeah, I intended to stop after 10 minutes. Let me slow this thing down and get off. So what I'm basically trying to say is, just like he talked in this book about how people who have no net worth have habits and beliefs that cause them to take actions to get rid of their money as soon as they have it, okay? The same thing applies to fitness. What is it in your history that has you have these beliefs, habits, actions that cause you to be unhealthy or out of shape? Now, in the next video, I'm going to talk about what I personally learned from this book, okay? My personal problem that I had, that I didn't know I had until I read this book, and that I did not fix until I read this book.